President Donald Trump now accounts for half of all presidential impeachments in American history. The House may have rebuked the president in a historically bipartisan fashion yesterday, but many of the president's allies remain in the House and look to become a very powerful force for years to come. Joining us now for more on impeachment as well as the 117th U.S. Congress is Representative Kim Schrier, Democrat of Washington State. Representative, thank you so much for taking the time. Great to have you back here on the show. Ultimately, when all is said and done here with this vote, all but one member of your own home state's delegation, Cathy McMorris Rodgers, voted for impeachment. Does it tell you more that 10 Republicans backed impeachment, including 2 from your state, or does it tell you more that so many Republicans did not?
Well, I think they're both important, and thank you for having me on again. First, I would just say that I'm really proud of, I guess that's the way I would say it, about Jamie Hoyer Butler and Dan Newhouse, because they stood by their principles. I know them both to be principled, good people. I work with both of them on legislation, and it just is very heartening to see that they witnessed what we all witnessed. It was plainly wrong. It is plainly dangerous. We cannot allow a precedent to be set where that kind of behavior, inciting a mob, attacking another branch of government, is okay. And so I'm thrilled that they joined us. I'm disappointed that more didn't join us. And I think you'd have to ask them about their own personal or political calculations.
Of course, it does make it the most bipartisan impeachment we've had in American history. Representative Schrier, some of your Democratic colleagues have talked about the suspicious nature. There are questions on Capitol Hill, as you well know, about allegations of insider help. Your colleague from New Jersey, Representative Mikey Sherrill, talked about reconnaissance tours that some Republican members of Congress are alleged to have given to some of these rioters in the days before. What do you know of these conversations, and is it your sense that this will yield serious investigations? Are you concerned about alleged insider help?
I am concerned. We all saw videos of assistance. We also saw a handful of my colleagues joining the president and inciting this violence and inviting the mobs and giving a fist in the air in support. And I think that needs to be evaluated, because inciting violence, inciting insurrection is impeachable, but it is also illegal. Although I'm not a lawyer, I think that needs to be pursued. I can tell you that it is already being looked into by the FBI, looking at who inside was helping. The perpetrators, the terrorists, were able to find locations in the Capitol that I probably could not find. And so they clearly had assistance. And the fact that there were any tours going on in a Capitol during a COVID pandemic, when nobody's allowed unless they are personally escorted in by a member of Congress, suggests that if there was insider knowledge, that some of my colleagues may have been co-conspirators.
What an incredible statement to even have a sitting member of the deliberative body say. There are questions surrounding specific members, Brooks, Gosar, Biggs, questions about somewhat favorable statements in the past to conspiracy theories from Representatives Green as well as Boebert of Colorado. Are these members of Congress you feel like you can work with in good faith in this next session?
I have not in the past worked with these particular colleagues. I don't know that there are any particular issues where we would naturally be working together, but I'll tell you, it makes it really hard. It points to just how divided our country is. We are operating from different information circles, different sets of facts, and this really needs truth and reconciliation. And frankly, it will need a lot of Republicans to step up and speak the truth. Even those who voted against impeachment yesterday, many of them still condemned the president's behavior. And so it will really take some voices of conscience from within to speak to their own party and set this right.
Representative Schrier, I know you did not run to Congress to impeach presidents. You're there for policy, like I would like to think every member of Congress is, especially when you look at the lens of your work on the Education and Labor Committee and other committees in the House. What are those big legislative priorities, and how concerned are you of the conversation being drowned out for the start of a Biden White House if the Senate does need to hold a Senate trial for impeachment?
Well, look, first, let me just say that the most expedient way to remove this president from power would have been for him to resign, which probably would have been the smartest for him. I think the second would have been invoking the 25th Amendment. I mean, my goal here was to remove him from power because there is still abundant damage that he could do. He could continue to stoke violence. He could continue to call on his supporters to come to Washington, D.C. for the inauguration. He could pardon the people who stormed the Capitol. So I wanted him removed. I believe that if we can call back 435 members of Congress, we can certainly call back 100 senators to take this up immediately. And I think that's what he should do. I think that this could be a very speedy trial. The information is there. We've all seen it. There is really nothing defensible there. And this could all be done by the time Joe Biden is sworn in. I want to see him come in, be successful, have a cabinet of competent adults who will help guide the future of this country and start the healing process. And I think that, Mitch McConnell could make the decision today to call his colleagues back and take this up seriously.
Of course, Mr. McConnell has said he won't do that, so this will largely punt all this conversations into the Biden White House. Finally, Democrats, for the first time in a long time, Representative, control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. I mean, what are you looking to get done? Election reform, H.R. 1, what are those top priorities that you need to get done before the midterms?
First, can I just say that when we have all three bodies, what happens is that the moderates end up guiding the agenda. So I want to first reassure any of your listeners who are worried about a lurch far to the left. I just don't see that happening. We need to get a majority, and we have a very slim margin in the House, and essentially a tie in the Senate. But here's what we have. We have an ability to not have obstruction and to move an agenda forward. And here's what I think we need: more COVID relief, support for people, support for small businesses. We need to roll out a competent vaccination program speedily. And then we need a big infrastructure program to get America back to work. Not just that, it is urgent, I believe, that we pass H.R. 1, the big government reform bill that gets corruption out of politics, gets big special interest money out of our politics, makes it easier to vote. These are things that we have all seen really pushed to the limit during these last 4 years. And we need to put guardrails up to protect our democracy and to not take anything for granted. We need this to work better.
Really appreciate you taking the time to talk news a day, and of course the policy-based agenda for the road ahead. That, at the end of the day, is I think what's most important to the American people and your constituents. Representative Kim Schrier, Democrat of Washington State, you're always welcome back on the show. Thanks a lot for taking the time. Please stay safe.